Good afternoon, I am Precious Mzea Sakadeji. Welcome to Camnet TV Midday News. The headlines. The UPND administration accused of lacking a job creation strategy. UPPZ President Charles CHANDA to implement parallel CDF in KWACHA constituency. Join me with the details after this commercial.
The Zambia Statistics Agency will this year conduct the 2021 census across the country. The census aims to count people in households, rural and urban, hospitals, military, police and correctional facilities. This numbering will extend to hotels, farms, as well as high-density areas with different families sharing house and those in transitory locations. Every person in the country matters and should be counted because the census will benefit all, from migrants, refugees and street children, homeless people, the young and the old people, as well as persons with disabilities. Everyone counts. This message is brought to you by the Zambia Statistics Agency.
And now the media news in detail. Opposition political parties have accused the government of lacking a blueprint for job creation in the country. Patriotic Front Media Director Antonio Mwanza has charged that there is no specific policy direction on how the UPND administration intends to create jobs in the country.
Youth empowerment, tolerate grade 12 certificate. Grade 12 certificate. Why no jobs? For myself, that's my complaint.
As of 2019, the labor force employment was at 2.9 million, while Zambia's population was estimated at about 18 million, meaning many people are in the informal sector or doing nothing at all. However, the ongoing census of population is expected to give a reflection of the current rate of unemployment in Zambia. And talking about unemployment, the recruitment of enumerators and supervisors under the census program reviewed high levels of unemployment, and Opposition Patriotic Front Media Director Antonio Mwanza has charged that 1 year in office, the UPND government has no strategy on job creation.
They don't have any economic plan of exactly how they are going to create jobs. If you want to create jobs, these are the things that you do. Number one, you reduce the cost of doing business. How do you do that? You reduce the price of commodities that are essential, such as fuel. When fuel goes up, the cost of doing business goes up. The cost of transport, of storage, of everything goes up. And this is the reason why many companies today are closing. Tuntemba in compounds are closing. So if the cost of doing business is high, then you can't have a private sector that is creating jobs. When the private sector is going down, it simply means that government cannot create those jobs. So there are no jobs that will be created under this government. In agriculture alone, we have about 70 to 80% of jobs. Agriculture has been killed. The price of fertilizers moved from 650 kwacha per bag to 1,000. The price of seed has moved from 300 kwacha to 470 kwacha. The price of chemicals, everything has gone up.
And Leadership Movement President Dr. Richard Silumbe believes focus must be directed at creating jobs in the production sector through massive recruitment under institutions like the Zambia National Service, besides the health and education sectors.
The budget in the New Dawn government doesn't even have a word about creation of an industry, creation of a manufacturing center, creation of a factory. All these ways that are important for us to be on the road to development, because the economy runs on the wheels of production. For as long as there is nothing talked about in the budgets, it's all about consumption as we have seen it, we are not going anywhere. It's high time we become productive. We make use of all institutions that can be used for production and encourage, provide provision of jobs to young people, millions of young people, so that they become productive. And with that, we are going to see the economy developing again.
However, the government has been making assurances to create the much-needed jobs for Zambians. One only hopes those aspirations will come to pass before 2026. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
A 3-year-old boy of Lusaka's Kalikiliki compound, Teddy Monza, who has an imperforate anus, has started receiving treatment at the University Teaching Hospital, Children's Hospital. 2 weeks ago, Teddy's family featured on Camnet TV complaining of how his treatment had been delayed despite an assurance from doctors at Zambia's biggest hospital.
Born with an imperforate anus, 3-year-old Teddy Mwanza of Lusaka's Kalikiliku compound has started receiving treatment at the University Teaching Hospital, the Children's Hospital. Teddy, who has been suffering since birth, has a birth defect that happens as an unborn baby is developing during pregnancy, meaning one has an improperly developed anus and therefore can't pass waste from their rectum out of their body. 2 weeks ago, Teddy's mother appeared on Camnet TV, wondering why her son's neck surgery has delayed, adding that she was informed in March 2022 by doctors at UTH that she was going to be called for her son's neck treatment. In an effort to try and assist the family, this reporter contacted UTH Public Relations Officer Natalie Mashikolo, who advised that the mother goes to the Children's Hospital and see how she can be assisted. Lucky enough, baby Teddy is now receiving treatment.
Vaneni bwela kuno ku UTH vanabwa vamupima mwana kuti vamupime blood vanapeza blood ililo so vananitumiza kuvana kuti vamuike blood mwana futi yenze yovutako so palasti manje vabwa vamuika blood so after vamuika pa blood kufunika futi kubwerera kuja ku diploko pansi nje kwa mine vafunikira manje vaende vapitirize vane vama operation.
Although Teddy might have commenced receiving his treatment, the family cannot afford to provide for him food advised by the doctors. Mrs. Mwanza, who is unemployed and has 3 other children, says due to economic hardship that the family is going through, they cannot afford to provide the required meals for Teddy, as advised by medical doctors.
So nipempako vamene vanganitandizeko kuti vanitandizireko pali va mwana na kuvala madaipa nivovuta sinikwanisa kuti mwana zavala chanu zapezeka maybe libe madaipa tundira pa bed futi pangala nipona na pazizira. So nipempako vamene vanganitandizireko kudya kwa mwana nikovuta mwamene alili so na operation pamala funiko muchitopareti kuti azichitira toilet kunsi amachitira toilet pamala kudya nikovutika mwana nsimo kamutiesa nshazambo vutika mumala tiniziva operation ya mwana kuti tizafika kapena nima tizankala tizateking how long mu hospital siniziva.
He is just 3 years old and continues to suffer more than most people can understand. Doctors made an opening on Teddy's stomach to enable him pass waste. The measure was a temporary one done on the 3-year-old who has no control over his bowel movement. Hence, his mother constantly keeps his opening covered with a piece of cloth. By 2030, Zambia in its Sustainable Development Goal number 3 seeks to achieve good health and well-being, ensuring healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
An 18-year-old juvenile who recently came out of an abusive marriage in Lusaka's Kanyama compound is now seeking financial assistance so that she can go back to school under the re-entry policy. The victim, who physically suffered at the hands of her 24-year-old husband, identified as Noton Motoka, says she dropped out of school in grade 2 and can neither read nor write.
After coming out of an abusive marriage a few weeks ago, an 18-year-old juvenile of Lusaka's Kanyama compound now seeks assistance from various stakeholders to help her go back to school. On the 18th of August 2022, the 18-year-old, whose name has been withheld for security concerns, appeared on Camnet TV narrating a predicament of how a 24-year-old husband, identified as Noton Motoka, bent her clothes and that of their 2-year-old son in a fit of rage after she called it quit to their 3 years marriage due to domestic violence.
Police was wakambati afunika gwiriwe. Bamusakira kuri police so nongole ruswa twasakiriwe. Stiza bana tabiro de muntu asakiriwe. Aveni veteze ambana kudara inamba kudara ndewo. Tize state kambana so tabe kubeko neze peka report on police. Kubeze siria chego kucha. Pena ngona kuri amami sineze peka report vezipera chekula pongozi wanga. But kwa kula pongozi wanga tikambo yambana pebezi niya mkira wose.
Memory, not a real name, now wants to go back to school and better her life. She tells this reporter that she cannot write or read as she dropped out of school when she was only in grade 2. With the re-entry policy, she hopes to find herself in class.
Ni sinapunzirepo napera grade 2. Napera grade 2 sinapunzirepo school. Drama zinavuta zeben drama. Tu mpeke school au zinavuta vintu. Ben drama. Peze kati nifuna punzira bebe mami ben drama dadi wanzo zebepo gwiri. Ndi mwitina kariya so tabentu takulirana. Ndi na upampezi kati na mita no mita. So hapa ni bepo na idea ngwa ku school. Sinzo mduvanga sinzo munga ntandizirepo mwana wanga ni muono njeze ntandizira baja mwana wanga kuti ni dise mwana wanga step 1 kwatu ni so chabi mboya wae.
Despite having the burning desire of wanting to go back to school, the 18-year-old juvenile and her family says she needs aid from various stakeholders to finance her education. Her mother, who is a trader in the city of Lusaka, says she has no capacity to take care of her daughter and her grandson.
Amene unda amene nipemba kutanga angantandizire kona kusogolo mimi school pena mwana futi afunika naye kwenda ku school so nipemba kuti ngamtandizire ko mwana kuti angaende ku school pamoja na mai bake so nipemba kula amene kuti ngamtandizire.
The sister's victim calls on kind-hearted members of the public to come to the aid of the family.
Bezonetera ripoti tawangasika kwanso cha beta kambisa anavasi anapofika pa instance kuti manje chinalangisa kuti angamupa sitasara mulosi because ni mwana muono ngo kuti apesike mu chikwati ni chifukwa cha kuti chabecha mavuto ndiye analengesa kuti apesike mu jafuta pesika na mimba so mwamuna ni uja ni type jama savage so panana bwa mumenya tikabotenda ku victim.
11 days passed and Norton Motoka is still on the run. The police have already launched a manhunt for him. After burning down all their household properties, he fled from the scene. Community members tried to apprehend him, but to no avail. Efforts to get a comment from Motoka's family proved futile by broadcast time. Camnet TV is keenly following this case. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
Some residents of Lusaka's Bowling compound in Lusaka Central Constituency have appealed to the government to consider establishing several water sources to avert the prevailing water crisis in the area. In an interview with Camnet News, Janet Mbowa says most of the times they are forced to walk long distances just to access clean, safe drinking water.
By 2030, Zambia seeks to achieve access to adequate and equitable sanitation and hygiene for all and end open defecation, paying special attention to the needs of women and girls and those in vulnerable situations. The country also aims to achieving universal and equitable access to safe and affordable drinking water for all. Despite the Sustainable Development Goal number 6, there are some areas in Zambia that do not have adequate water sources, such as the story of Bowling compound of Lusaka province. Camnet TV engaged with the community who had this to say.
Government is important. Takuri amenshi tetifu wombe nangu fintu so amenshi yalinire abako bafire batu wafirisha wa government
Zambia wants to significantly increase water use efficiency across all sectors and ensure sustainable withdrawals and supply of fresh water to address water scarcity and reduce the number of people suffering from water scarcity. The community has since called on government to provide community taps where they can fetch water.
Problem ya nayo kuno tina problem ya manzi kuno tiribe manzi pajaika yapezeka ya bwela short time ya sira tilichena pompi mozi ya jaika kulibe mapompi yangu yamene yasebenza so tindisira vuto ku manzi tina vuto ya manzi kuno zapezeka tilelo mwatapa mailosi munatapi so tulina vuto ikulu ya manzi so yafuniko tianga napo pankani ya manzi ndiye mawe yamene ninga kambe chabe
jaika ni mozi manzi yakavuta tienda kutapa ku mafamu kutali ero pa jaika paya pamankala abantu makamaka malaiti yakaenda tingala tilibe manzi so moyo wa muntu ni manzi batikire konzero bakansera kani wa MP bamuno so tachika kutali tiwashira pano manzi yavuta.
Government is mandated to support and strengthen the participation of local communities in improving water and sanitation management. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
United, Prosperous and Peaceful Zambia President Charles CHANDA says once the people of KWACHA constituency vote for their candidate, they will implement a parallel CDF program to benefit the people of that locality. The opposition United, Prosperous and Peaceful Zambia UPPZ has fielded Shadrach Mumba for the September 15th polls.
They've been oppressed by the former regime. The new government doesn't care about the community schools, so I'm saying this is the time. Get an MP who will think about you. Let's not even talk about the other things. So this is why I've gone for that. And I'm saying I want to assist the KWACHA constituency. And you know, what I've decided to do, this will be the first constituency with a parallel CDF. I'm going to provide the CDF not from government but from my pocket to make sure that we develop KWACHA. Look at how many youths are not working. I am giving them one mine, one emerald mine wa KWACHA. Nalaba peroko kulufwa nyama. Aba youth ba mu KWACHA bala samkuomba ku emerald mine. Who can do that? So those of you who are teachers not employed, don't worry. I've taken over all the 17 community schools and I'm going to provide employment. The youth who were affected by Black Mountain, don't worry. As long as you are in KWACHA, I've got 6 emerald mines. So one of them, I'm going to use it to provide employment. So I'm not just coming to talk, no. This is time to do work. So KWACHA nganam kwata mano, saleni, MP wa UPPZ ewala mwafuilisha because I want to help you. And apart from that, I want to see how we can sort out the issue of land. The people are suffering. If you look at Amaya and Defo Akula Mkwacha, how are they going to live? Government has got no land. I have more land than the government here in Kitwe. So you have to decide.
That news item brings us to the end of Camnet TV Midday News, but before we go, here are the headlines once again. The UPND administration accused of lacking a job creation strategy. UPPZ President Charles CHANDA to implement parallel CDF in KWACHA constituency. Thank you for watching. I am Precious Mzeya Sakaleji. Good afternoon.